Class Business 146, Money Management. Welcome. My name is Jim Ducey. I'm going to be your instructor for this class. This is my fourth, fifth time teaching this class. So it's a fun class. I'm super excited for all of you to go through this little journey about money management. We're going to jump right into. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to go through the syllabus. And then we're just kind of get into the first week. First week's kind of let you know what the expectations are. I'm actually in a room right now in an office of a business I used to own because at home I got guests there, and this is actually, oh, you can see the reflection in the screen there. It's Sunday morning. I'm doing this. It's my first time doing a online class, so I will need your patience in this. It'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm a pretty flexible, easygoing guy. My goal for all of you is to learn some good stuff in this class. I think this is a class that everybody should take, and we have some really, really good, important takeaways for that. So it's Sunday morning. I'm doing this class, and it's probably the only time you'll see me in this room doing a recording. But let me get into the syllabus. Let me share my screen here. Hold on, that's not the right one. Here we go. So like I said, it's Sunday morning. I'm doing this. So to be completely honest with you, at some point, probably about an hour, if I take a break, it's because I'm checking my fantasy to see if there's any updates in fantasy football and players I need to sit or start. I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. All right, here we are. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Perfect, there we are. The course syllabus, which is, hold on. Here's the course syllabus. Business 146, money management. I might literally be making changes to this syllabus as we roll through this. I am Jim Ducey, the instructor of record. Not only the instructor of record, but I am the instructor. My office hours are going to be 1 to 2 every Tuesday. I'll probably open that up like on a Zoom type of. I'll send you a link to a Zoom, and I'll just hop on there. Or if you want to call me directly, we can do that as well. I mean, we say there's office hours, but it's like I'm here for you guys whenever you need me. Here are my emails, which is jducey@citruscollege.edu, and also ducey@chapman.edu. I'll get into a little bit about myself here in a moment, but it's probably better. I will check my Citrus email probably a couple times a day, usually in the morning and like maybe late afternoon, early evening. This Chapman one is open all day, and the reason that is because I have they're with a they're both done on Microsoft Outlook, and I can only have one open at a time, and this usually the Chapman one is open. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself right now. I went to undergraduate at Cal State Fullerton. I was actually a liberal studies major, but I was kind of a serial entrepreneur there for a while. I've owned some businesses, had some interesting work experience. I sold medical supplies, had my own insurance company. I owned a salon, a spa, beauty supplies, women's shoe stores, all that kind of stuff. So kind of have more of an entrepreneurial background for a long time. Then I went back to graduate school, went back to school, went to graduate school, got my MBA from Chapman University. And then, I don't know, probably about a few years after that, I got out of owning my own businesses, kind of sold some stuff off. And I always had a family friend who said, hey, you should get into higher ed, get into teaching. I was like, no, I don't want to teach. And then finally, she arranged for a meeting for me to meet the dean at Citrus, and I went into it literally just as like I thought we're having a conversation. By the end of the conversation, he offered me some classes there, to the point where I had to ask my wife. I said, like, I think I just got offered a job. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, he said at the end of the conversation, I just appropriate and had a resume and stuff. He says, I can get you some classes. I'm like, she's like, yeah, dummy, that's a job. Then I was teaching, loved it. I love being with the students. It's kind of going to be tough for me to do this, virtually and remote and everything, but we'll make the best of it. And then a couple years ago, I reached out to a buddy who I went to graduate school with Chapman, and I was just trying to pick up a class. And then he told me about this opportunity at Chapman in Orange that to be a director for a program, actually assistant director for a program. So I'm the assistant director of graduate programs in the business school at Chapman. I basically recruit students in for our Master's of Science in Accounting program and our new Master's of Science in Real Estate program. So I recruit students for that program, get them in the program, manage that program, deal with the instructors on that program. And also I teach at Chapman too. I teach a marketing class over at for a marketing for non-business majors. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm sure you'll probably hear some more annoying stories about me as we get to the class here. But basic course description. This course covers, the proper management of personal incomes and expenditures. The course includes a study of inflation and business cycles, commercial and savings accounts, budgets, charge accounts, installment buying, borrowing money, taxes, property taxes, income, estate, inheritance, and gifts, insurance. We'll get into all the insurance stuff, pension plans, Social Security, owning a home, investing in securities, trust funds, wills. This course is an integrative approach to personal finance, focusing on practical financial decision making, as well as the social, psychological, and physiological context in which those decisions are made. Students will examine their relationships with money, set personal financial goals, and develop a plan to meet those goals. Student learning outcomes are, after completing this course, the student should be able to utilize a working vocabulary of our financial system, which is very important. There's going to be some stuff at the beginning of this class that might go over your head, and I'll play some videos for you at the midway point or towards the end of the class, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm watching this and I understand everything that's going on. I understand everything that they're saying when it was a foreign language in the beginning, which is really great to see that growth that you'll have. And also examine the foundations of financial decision making and goal setting in order to accomplish the financial goals the student desires. Textbook. This is PFIN, which I guess is short for personal finance. Billingsley, Gitman, and Junk. This is available. That's really the only textbook. I don't know what's going on with the Citrus College Bookshop right now, but you can find all this stuff online too. This is the book that I have. This is version 7. I've used version 5. I've used version 6. I've used version 7. It doesn't really matter. There's not that big of a difference. Here's what I'll do. I'm just going to roll through the book and just kind of tell you the parts. Actually, the parts of chapters. I'll go chapters, which is, you got this, the second page in. It's broken up into chapter 1 is under. So make sure this is kind of aligned. If it's not, we can figure out kind of call an audible and figure out what to do with that. But I'm pretty flexible with this kind of stuff. Chapter 1 is understanding the financial planning process. 2 is using financial statements and budgets. 3, preparing your taxes. 4, managing your cash and savings. 5, making automobile and housing decisions. I'll put these, I'll post this too, just to kind of let you know, like the textbook I'm working off of. And if you can get something, because literally when they have a new version of a textbook that comes out, sometimes there's no difference. There might just be a sentence here or there or some kind of insert, and it's just kind of a waste for you to have to buy a new version when you can buy a used book. Chapter 6 is using credit. Chapter 7 is using consumer loans. 8, insuring your life. 9, insuring your health. 10, protecting your property. 11, investment planning. 12, investing in stocks and bonds. 13, chapter 13, investing in mutual funds, ETFs, and real estate. Chapter 14, planning for retirement. And chapter 15, preserving your estate. That's in this PFIN version 7. I think there's like a little 7 right there, which means version 7. If you find version 5, version 6, I think that's still fine. And if you notice there's 16 chapters, 15 chapters, 15 there, yeah. So here's a little insight to you, is that if you notice that textbooks for the most part are 15 to 16 chapters, it's very intentional. That's because most classes are 15 to 16 weeks, so it makes it really easy on the instructors to, hey, we're gonna do a chapter a week. This class is 8 weeks long, so basically we'll cover about 2 chapters a week. Let's keep scrolling down through here. Course instruction. Look at this, first error. This is in-class instruction. It is not online instruction, which requires students to read all materials in the book prior to class. Professor may or may not remind students of important dates. Yeah, that's true. Netiquette, it's kind of a stupid word, but this is a business class, and therefore it is good to practice to use proper email. Yes, okay, actually this is kind of important. Proper email, and it's just good to get in that habit of using proper email and just being professional with email. No, I mean, hey, I would, for in person, I would consider, as friends and stuff, but be professional with your emails and just get in that habit of doing that. Email requirements. I can only send emails to a student's Citrus College email address. It's a legal thing, because if I'm sending it to another address, it's non-Citrus, then it might not even be somebody who's in the student, a student who's in the class. So make sure that you use only your Citrus email address for that. In-class participation and comportment. Comportment, that's such a great word. Participation in the class drastically improves the learning environment, not for only you, but for the classmates as well. I strongly encourage everyone to get involved for the betterment of the course. Obviously, we're not going to be in person, so this just kind of take this for what it is. Comportment is what that means is a noun, a personal bearing or conduct, demeanor, behavior. So just I'm tweaking something with the participation. I think I put it down here someplace. Yeah, we'll get to that. So you can kind of ignore this section right here. This is more for in-class. In-class quizzes. There will not be in-class quizzes. Let's just put quizzes. How many quizzes do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6. Yes, so there will be 6 quizzes, which will be open note and open book. Those quizzes will, how we're going to structure the class is you're going to have, I will update in the modules 2 sections or sessions every week, usually one on a Monday, and then one like on a Wednesday. And if there's anything due from the Wednesday class, will be due on that Friday. So, and if it's due, it's usually just gonna be like a quiz. But we'll get into some more of that stuff shortly here. Exams. There will be 3. The quizzes will be mainly based off of lecture and the book. That's why it's good to get the book. And some of the stuff is literally right out of the book. Examinations will be 3. Or look at 3, 2. Hello. 3 is in the full length semester. There will be 2 examinations. Each exam will consist of short answer, essay questions, and calculation problems. I will be very transparent with you about what's going to be on the exam. I'll do a review with you what's on the exam. And even after that, if you want to reach out to me in office hours or anytime, I would be more than happy to help you out with that. The short answers will just be, just short answers based on, discussions we've had in the class. Essay questions will not be long essay questions, maybe a paragraph or so. And then calculation problems will be very kind of simple calculation problems based on some, some personal finance and money management concepts. Paper, all students, normally I have like a presentation at the end of the class where everybody, gives, a really quick kind of where your top 3, top 5 kind of takeaways that you learn from this class, or things that you want to keep doing as you go through the life that you learned in this class. Can't do that now, so we're going to do just basically submit a 1 to 2 page paper highlighting the top 3 to 5 items or takeaways from this class that they learn and want to apply to the relationship with money management in the future. The exam schedule. Hold on, I got. The exam schedule. Give me 1 second here. I gotta hold on. All right, there's the joy of doing stuff online. The cleaning people are here. So, and by the way, I'm here because I got guests at home, and it's Sunday morning. I want to get to my football here soon, shortly. So, exam schedule. The first one will be in week 5, and the second one will be in this week 8, your last week of the class. So, it's that. The course grades. Here's how you're going to be graded. 40% of your grade will be the exams. 30% will be your quizzes. 10% will be attendance, meaning, what did I put here? What was it? Which should be kind of your weekly kind of short kind of summary of what happened for that week. Here we go. This part right there. And we'll get to that in a second. And then 10% will be a paper that you're gonna have to write by the end of the class. Your grading scale is typical, just straightforward, and just be engaged, communicate with me, because if you're close to that, to the lower ranges, the more engaged you are with things, there's usually an opportunity to get that a little higher. Attendance, this is normally in class, but there's still just be engaged. The better your attendance, better if you have excessive absences, you may be dropped. I don't know how I would drop you in this current environment, but I guess we still could. As part of your attendance, you're required to submit a quick 1 to 2 sentence breakdown of, I'm going to post this sentence breakdown takeaways from the week, of just the highlights of what you learned from that week, so I can kind of know you're engaged. Drop and withdrawal. It is a student's responsibility to officially drop a class whenever the student determines that he or she can no longer attend a class or attend class. Failure to drop a class may result in a failing grade. Drop slips will no longer be used. Students will have to go to do it all by on Wingspan. Cheating and plagiarism, just don't do it. If anybody's DSP and S, I should say, let me know so I can see the best what I can do to. And that's a self-identifying, self-reporting situation. So just let me know, and I will try to accommodate you with more time for quizzes and for exams and stuff. So take a little water break. All right, so let's get into the actual content here. Still recording. Let me find my PowerPoint, and I apologize. You're gonna have to watch my goofy face as we go through this stuff. Probably the whole semester. Oh, it's not that. That's the wrong slideshow. Ooh, hold on. Here we go. Yeah, we'll just do this. It's good enough for me. All right, let's share the screen. Great. Business 146, money management, Jim Doucette. How about that? Okay, let's get rolling with this. This is gonna be fun. I got 2 sets of 3 questions for you here as we get started. The first, what is the name of the youngest adult Kardashian/Jenner female? Okay, think about that. 2, what local team just won the NBA championship? And 3, what's the name of the shoe and clothing brand started by Kanye West? Right? I'm sure almost all of you knew the answer for the first one was Kylie Jenner. Who doesn't know? Come on, please. Who doesn't know Kylie Jenner? I saw her at Coachella, by the way, one year. She was with her and her sister. This is before they blew up. And there was Selena Gomez. It was kind of funny. We're like in this VIP area, and they were going to come out, and Selena Gomez was like, no, there's too many people there. And they were just like, no, come on. But it was interesting. So you'll know that. That is Kylie Jenner. Number 2, what local team just won the NBA championship? If you said the Clippers or even cheer for the Clippers, class is over. No, I'm kidding. Of course, it's the Lakers, Happy the Lakers won. Very proud of Lakers. Lifelong Laker fan. Happy we have LeBron. He's a tad annoying, but it's okay. He's a good guy. He's a role model, but you know, he needs to get over himself a little bit as far as I'm concerned. You know, he says he needs respect and all that stuff. He's got respect. Just, you know, just grow some thick skin. What is the name of the shoe and clothing brand started by Kanye West? Yeezys. I know you all know that, right? So if you got these 3 questions right, awesome, good for you. Let's go to 3 more questions. What does APR stand for? What's the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized college student loan? And 3, what is an acceptable amount of your monthly budget to be allocated for your housing? Usually in the class, when we're in person, I'll ask these 3 questions, and I will get for these 3 questions, boom, hands shooting up. Everybody knows the answers. These 3 questions, it's kind of more cricket-ish, where you can hear crickets. A couple people will know. And that's the goal of this class, is so that you will be more familiar with financial issues, and you will be more familiar with these kind of things. So what are the answers? APR, that's annual percentage rate. That's basically like your interest rate on a credit card, okay? What's the difference between a subsidized and unsubsidized college student loan? A subsidized college student loan is when you have a college student loan, but you don't have to start paying on that college student loan until you are finished, you're graduated. Sometimes usually 6 months after you're graduated, you can pay the interest on that as you go. An unsubsidized college student loan is when you get a loan to pay for your classes or for your tuition or for whatever, and you're paying on that immediately. Okay, so if you have a chance to get an unsubsidized, do that. And those are usually kind of government loans. And 3, what's an acceptable amount of your monthly budget to be allocated for your housing? Like 25, 30, 35%, usually about 30% is acceptable. And we'll get into budgets. Our next, I would say next class, but our next module or session. All right, let's get into this. Is money important? Of course, money's important. Why? For your standard of living and for you to accumulate wealth. Is money the most important thing in life? Absolutely not. Money is not even close to being the most important thing in life. But if you have money, you can have more options. And I've been through many times in my life. Well, I shouldn't say many. Sometimes in my life, many, I guess, where money wasn't great. But then you kind of go through, peaks and valleys. And when you're in a good situation with money, it just makes life easier. You have more choices. So, but money is important because you can have a better standard of living, and also you can accumulate wealth for your future and for your retirement and for when you're not working anymore. How do you get a better standard of living? You earn money. Oh, by the way, I went with this type of with the little bubbles here. I think I'm probably going to change it every week. Just I'll get bored, because it's gonna be a little different for this class. How do you get a better standard of living? Earn money and effectively manage your money. And how do you accumulate wealth? Earning money and effectively managing your money. There is, and we will get into this a little bit later, but there's definitely a psychological effect with people in money and finances. And sometimes the people who are better with their money are not the people who have the most money. They're people who just have a better relationship with money. Because how you handle money, how you are with money, a lot of that has more to do with what's going on between your ears than what you're earning. And it's very, very, very easy to money shame people, meaning with people who don't have money or have been bad with their money, like to say, you know what, hey, this person did this with their money, they're a loser, or I'm resentful towards my parents because of this and that. I would just encourage you not to do that, because I think most people make the best decision for themselves at that time for money. People don't intentionally make bad decisions with money, but hopefully with this class, you'll be given kind of a buffet of what are some good decisions to make, what are some bad decisions to make, and just some ways to think through money decisions. You're not going to be an expert with money by the time this class is done, but you'll know more and you'll make some more informed decisions moving forward. And also, as far as this class goes, it's I remember, like when you graduate from, your undergraduate degree, you get your bachelor's. I remember looking at my transcripts, thinking to myself, like, I don't know, are these mine? If you had told me these are my transcripts, I wouldn't have believed you because there's so many classes on there that I had no idea. I didn't remember anything about the class. I didn't remember the instructor. I didn't remember the class. I don't remember the classroom. I don't remember anybody in the class. I don't remember learning a single thing in these classes. But hopefully this class, I want you to have some big takeaways of good habits that you can have, hopefully for the rest of your life, or at least get you thinking, get you thinking about things. Oh, this is something good. Median versus mean. That's just something kind of good to know. I kind of like this kind of corny kind of stuff. You'll always hear when they do any kind of economic reports, like, the median house price or the median income. The difference between median and mean is the average. Median is literally the medium, the one that's in the middle. So let's say you have, let's do this right now real quick. You have, I got a little whiteboard here. How about that? Let's say you got the numbers 12, 30, and 84. See, 12, 30, and 84, right? The mean for those would be the average. So you're going to take those numbers, 12 plus 30, that's what? 42, 42, that's 126. 126, divide that by 3. Get my phone out here real quick. Make sure my math off the top of my head was pretty good, was accurate there. It'd be embarrassing if it wasn't. Wow, I got lucky on that one. Okay, 126, divide that by 3. The mean or the average is 42, right? The median is right in the middle, which would be 30. So when you hear people use the term the median income, all they're doing is stacking up all incomes and taking that one in the middle. The median housing price, they're taking all the prices of all the homes and taking that one in the middle. So median and mean is kind of is very different. So here's just kind of a little tidbit here. Financial goals, and this goes for all goals. Okay, I love this little saying. Okay, and you can feel free to use it however you want, whenever you want. A goal without a plan is a wish, or a goal without a plan is just a wish. Meaning that it's great to have goals, but if you don't have a plan to go with that goal, your goal is useless. And the how is more important than the what. Meaning, if you want to lose 10 pounds, I could lose about 7 pounds right now, to be honest with you. That's great to have a goal, but how are you going to do it? The how is so much more important. Like, if I want to lose 7 pounds, that's great to say it, but how am I going to do it? I'll wake up every morning at 6 o'clock. I'll do some yoga. I started yoga a couple months ago. Kind of was embarrassed to say it at the beginning, but it's actually enjoyable. Actually, the first time I tried yoga years ago, I hated every second of it. The second time I tried it, I hated every second of it. The third time, most recently, I tried it. I still hated every second of it, but I just kind of fought through it. And then, go for a walk, go for a run, maybe in the evening, and push the sweets away. So the how is always more important than the what in the goal. If you want to say, I want to be worth $1 million in 5 years. That's great. How are you going to do that? I want to pay off all my credit cards. It's a good goal, but how are you going to pay off your credit card? Specifically, how are you going to do that? So once more, the how is way more important than the what for any goals. This is, and I'll be very open, very transparent with you with stuff that's going to be on exams, on quizzes, all that kind of stuff. There will be on your first exam a question specifically related to SMART goals. Okay. So what are SMART goals? SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay. So to say, and this kind of goes into piggybacks on this financial goals, a goal without a plan is just a wish. A SMART goal would be, um, hey, I want to buy a car in the next 6 months. Okay. Oh no, actually, smart goal would be I want to buy a car in the next 6 months by saving $3,000 for my down payment. Okay, it's specific. I mean, it's very specific which one to do. It's measurable. I mean, you can measure that. It's attainable. Looks like that's something possibly attainable. It's realistic and it's timely. It's timely is important because you have a time element on it. If you just said, "I want to get," what's your goal? I want to get a new car. Great. When do you want to get that new car? How specifically are you going to do it? Are there any measurables like the $3,000 down payment? Or I want to um, in 10 years be worth $5 million. That's okay. But how are you going to do that? You have to be specific. Specific with how you're going to how you're going to once again how are you going to do that? And you can also apply this for when you're at work. It's really kind of impressive actually when you can tell a boss like if there's something going on. Let's do this in a SMART goal. So it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. If we know we want to increase sales by 10% in the first quarter of this next year, or we want to, let's say you're working at, Subway or something, and my goal is we want to sell, at 20% more cookies by the end of next week, and at 20% more chips and cookies by the end next week by doing what? By recommending them to customers and see if they want to get like a meal. That would be specific. It'd be measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And unrealistic is to say, yeah, I want to be worth 10 million bucks next year. Or no, I want to be worth $10 million and be debt free. Well, how much debt do you have? I got about $200,000 in debt. Do you have a job? No. Do you have any prospects? No. Do you have a plan? No. Then that's not really obtainable. It's not really realistic. So it's kind of, it's kind of a welcome you back to planet Earth there a little bit. So now we're just going to kind of roll through what we're going to cover. So this is kind of just an overview of what we're going to cover for the class. We're not going to dig too deep into anything today. Actually, towards the end, we'll dig a little bit into some stuff. It's some kind of fun stuff. We'll get into the plan to achieve your financial goals. And there's a few different categories for that. But one, the first thing is asset acquisition planning. What kind of assets do you want to acquire, over your lifetime? Here's the different types of assets. There's liquid assets, and I think I usually put like on a quiz, a question of what is a liquid asset, and it will literally say cash, savings, money market account, boat, jet ski. Boats and jet skis are not liquid assets. They might be in the water, but liquid. It's just about liquidity, about having to, if you needed to, the key to liquid assets is that if you needed to convert these assets into cash today, tomorrow, you could do that. You can obviously do that with cash. And cash doesn't have to be cold, hard cash, like underneath your mattress. Cash could be money in your bank, okay? Cash, savings, money market accounts. We'll get into money market accounts a little bit later. This is a type of asset. Investments, different type of assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. We'll get into diversification and how you should stack up your kind of your portfolio as well later. Personal property, any type of movable, in a sense, property, things that you can move that's of your person. Autos, household furnishings, appliances, kind of corny, but still, it's actually listed in the book. Clothing, jewelry, home electronics. These are all kinds of personal property. And then real property, which would be, not that these are not fake, but real property is attached to like real estate, like land, homes, investment properties. And we'll kind of get into the different asset classifications of real estate as well. And if you're going to invest in real property, kind of how to diversify that. If you're going to have an investment property, sometimes don't go all in the same area. You want to diversify because if something happens in that area, then you're going to get potentially get crushed. If you're going to do more on not the single family properties, you want to do more, uh, uh, commercial, which is kind of, well, commercial's okay. Um, some areas are struggling right now. Office is really struggling right now because everything's going remote. Um, Retail is struggling right now, but there could be opportunities for that, for transitioning existing retail locations into more fulfillment type of places, because as everything goes more digital, with like, the Amazons, that kind of stuff. We could do that. We're getting into liability and insurance planning. What is liability? What is a liability? Basically, liability is what you owe, your debt, or anything outstanding you're responsible for. There's some words that we come across in our English language that have multiple meanings. One of them, I always think it's funny, is terminal. Terminal means a place where you go to take off for an airplane, but also means something's really bad. You have terminal illness or terminal cancer. Outstanding is another one. Hold on, drop my pen. Outstanding, another one of those words. If you said somebody was outstanding, or this was outstanding, for the most part, that's pretty good, But financially, outstanding is not good, because that means that's what you owe. That's what's still outstanding. That's kind of what you owe. If you have a balance on something, you owe money. If you have a credit card that has a $5,000 limit, and you owe $2,000, I mean, you have like $2,000 outstanding on that card. Actually, more outstanding would be with your payments, like if you're behind your payments. But outstanding in the financial sense is not a positive. And insurance. We'll get into insurance. Like, what's the purpose of insurance? Indemnification. That's a big fancy word, but if you can throw that out to your insurance agent, like your auto insurance, your renter's insurance, and we'll get into like the importance of renter's insurance and homeowners insurance and auto insurance, all that kind of stuff. Actually, I used to have my own Allstate insurance office for a while, so I kind of know a little bit more about this. But we say that indemnification, that's the purpose of insurance. And what does indemnification mean? That means it makes you whole when something unforeseen happens. So in a sense, when you have an issue with insurance, you say, hey, I want to be indemnified. I want to be made whole. And that's the purpose of insurance, is to indemnify or make you whole. I had one student one time, he thought that was like the funniest thing ever. It's like towards the end of the class, like, what did you learn? One of those 3 to 5 things was indemnification to make you whole. But all right. Savings and investment planning. We'll talk about that and how initially it's just to kind of have your emergency fund. We'll get into emergency fund a little bit later. And then to transition that into creating a nest egg and growth for you as you move forward in your life and your career. We'll also get into employer benefit planning, 401ks, and retirement planning. If you don't know what those are, we will get into that. And so you'll know what a 401k is, the importance of a 401k, why you should look for it in every job that you're applying for, and to see if those companies have 401ks, because that's going to be kind of potentially your nest egg as you move forward and into your retirement. Pensions. We'll get into pensions. Pensions are kind of a disappearing kind of thing, but they're still available for some companies. Profit sharing, with that, how important that could potentially be. And employer benefit planning, healthcare. How important is your healthcare that you get there? And how important is your paid time off, your PTO? We'll get into all those things later in the class. We get into tax planning. And just like simply figuring out what your earnings are and how those are impacted by taxes. We'll get into the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance, which is kind of a popular topic right now because of our president's gotten some issues with that kind of stuff. One is completely legal, one is not. But that's always an interesting topic to have, and how taxes work and why we have taxes, the importance of taxes. Get into that kind of stuff. We'll get into retirement and estate planning, get into IRAs, individual retirement accounts, SEPT IRAs, which is like a self-employed IRA. We'll get into Roth IRAs as well. That's a fun class. We'll also talk about special planning concerns, managing two incomes. So when you have two incomes, how do you management? How do you manage those? Some strategies about which incomes are how do you balance the benefits? One will be sometimes one job is better with benefits, other job is better with retirement. So kind of how to manage those. Like I said, right here, managing employee benefits. Not all employers are the same, and they can have a huge impact on your life decisions. Some people will stay with a job, sometimes a job that they don't even like or like as much as they think they could because it has really good benefits. And we'll talk about that and the benefits of that. Managing in tough economic times, which is what we're going through right now. And by the way, you know what? I didn't say this earlier. Thank God for for you students who are doing this and still moving forward with your education. I think during times like we're having right now, which do suck, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those people who make that investment in themselves, which is what you're doing right now, you're going to be one step ahead of the people who are just kind of sitting on the sidelines and feeling sorry for themselves. And I understand there's a lot of depression and anxiety going on right now, and my heart goes out to those people. I've suffered from depression in the past, and I know it's not an easy thing to deal with. And but thank you that you're here in this class and you're participating and you're being proactive, because when things do rebound, and they will, you'll be a step ahead of everybody else. And taking a class like this is so important for you to moving forward to know more about money. But managing tough economic times, the better you are prepared and plan, the less painful that these economic tough times can be. We'll talk about when you go through recessions, what's that like? Go through a financial crisis, and then what's going on now with coronavirus and COVID-19, and how to kind of manage through these times, how to have emergency savings. And sometimes, what, I'm going to go through some stuff, and you're gonna be like, Jim, you don't get it. I'm just going day to day, week to week, and I have absolutely been there. But you have to. It's more about having kind of that being hopeful and that kind of that promise that that there's a better day around the corner, and there will be. And sometimes you got to make tough decisions financially. And but like I said before, it's like people don't intentionally try to make the worst decisions for themselves, and it's easy to money shame people. But just know, hey, that if you are hardworking, you're diligent, you want things better, things will turn around for you and for everybody. How to survive a huge financial crisis? I would say spend less than you earn. Keep investing. Know where you are and plan for the unexpected. And spending less than you earn. Hold on, let me see if I have it here. I'll get into that right now. Spending less than you earn. If you've ever wanted to take been tempted to take a microeconomics class, somebody will tell you like macroeconomics is like economics on a large scale. We'll get into like monetary policy and how interest rates and tax rates affect how much money you save and how much money you can spend, that kind of stuff. But that's the big scale. That's kind of more on the government side. Microeconomics might sound very fancy and more detailed, but it's not. This is basically, in a sense, a microeconomics class. Microeconomics, in a nutshell, is don't spend more than you make. That's it. Don't spend more than you make. That's microeconomics in 5 seconds. So how to survive a huge financial crisis? Practice microeconomics. Spend less than you earn. Keep investing. Know where you are and plan for the unexpected. Be honest with where you are and plan for the unexpected. Have an emergency fund. We'll get into this a little bit later. We'll have some videos. This guy, Dave Ramsey, who is a good resource. I kind of believe in about 35% of what he says, but it gets you thinking. Once again, if you can start thinking about money and financial things, that's the purpose of this class. Have an emergency fund set up with 6 months cash, if you can. Now, some of you are gonna say, I don't have enough money for 6 seconds or 6 days. That's, hey, when things recover, you'll have a plan. And remember, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Who was the coach? John Wooden said, Preparing to plan. All right, wait, is it preparing to fail? Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Oh, I'll write that one down. Preparing or failing to prepare. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. If you don't know who John Wooden is, he is probably the most legendary coach, basketball coach of all time, led UCLA to what, 11, 12 national championships. There you go. There you go, John Wooden. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. I got incredibly lucky to meet him one day and spend a day with him before he passed away. My wife's aunt coached softball at UCLA for years, and she won like 12 national championships as a player and coach. And she asked me one day, she's like, Jimmy, what are you doing on Thursday? I'm like, I got this and that. So, do you want to go meet Coach Wood and hang out with him for the day? I'm like, cleared my schedule, was able to meet with him. And it was incredible. He was a very impactful guy. When he would prepare his teams, he prepared his teams to the smallest detail. Even how he took one entire practice just to teach his players how to put their socks on. And the reason he did that, you're thinking like, what is wrong with this person? This guy's, borderline, mental patient or something. But because if you don't put your socks on right, your socks will bunch up in your shoes and it will create blisters. And those blisters, you will not be able to perform the way you're supposed to. But he was all about detail. He never mentioned the word win to his players in all the years they had him. It was just basically do the best that you can do. Be the best that you can be every day. Try to get 1% better. I don't know if he said that. I think Sue may have said that. Get 1% better every day. But failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So just plan and prepare. Jersey Boys. Why did I put Jersey Boys here? This kind of ties into what's going on right now. There's this, I don't know if you guys seen this. I've seen this play, the Jersey Boys, a couple of times. We went to New York last Christmas before things shut down. And my father-in-law wanted to see it again. I'm like, nah, two's enough. He could see it like every week if it was up to him. And there's this part in the play. It's about the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And you probably recognize a lot of their songs, but they were coming up like, in the 50s and 60s and stuff. And the band got together. One of the guys in the band, just as right when they're about to break big, he got arrested. And he got arrested. And so they had to kind of, postpone their success a little bit and going on tour because they were very loyal with each other. So he gets arrested, and as his sentence is winding down, like 6 months or so, he gets out. The band's excited. As he's getting out, another guy in the band gets in trouble, has to go into jail for 3 or 4 months. So, but the message is just in life, everything, and then everything ended up being fine. They end up, just, getting the band together and just, reaching, incredible heights. But things cannot always be bad forever. Okay. But also things can't always be good forever too. So you have to know that when things are bad, they're going to turn around. When things are going really well, going great, you're going to fall on your face. There's going to be something that is going to, maybe not fall on your face, but there's going to be something that's going to come up that's going to knock you down that you didn't see coming. And just know that those things happen, that it can't be bad forever and it can't be great forever. So just kind of know that that's kind of like the cycle. There was in the Lion King, the circle of life. This is kind of the cycle of life and the cycle of success. One of the businesses I owned, we kind of had a joke when we had an employee and they went out and they bought something that they couldn't afford, in a sense. We knew, somebody went out and bought a new car, bought a boat, and he says, okay, this is the time that something's going to happen to them. They're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, because, and then, something happens with their job, or they get hurt, or something happens with their spouse. So, because you get a little cocky. You do get a little cocky. I've had that happen in business too. I'm like, oh gosh, we're doing great. We're just killing it. Our numbers are looking great. And then you get a little lazy on the back end with your budgeting. And then at a certain point, you look at everything and you're like, oh boy, we're kind of a little bit of trouble here. So we got to, just tighten it up, tighten the reins. But yeah, just kind of once again, things can't always be bad forever. And things will not always be good forever. So just kind of be prepared for that. The planning environment, when these are all these things kind of do factor into, you think it might not, but it does. It factors into your personal finances. The three main contributors or players in the financially planning environment: the government. The government's huge. The federal, the state, the local government, they both cost and give money to the economy. You're probably thinking, why do they both cost and give money to the economy? They cost because you have to pay in taxes, and we'll get into taxes, like I said before. And they give money to the economy because there's a lot of government contracts. Like if you have, if there's any plans in an area to improve the roads or to improve the infrastructure, to do new telephone poles or our electricity, those kind of things, that gets that money goes into the economy. The money for those people to do those jobs go back into the economy. So they're a huge player. Businesses, they provide and have costs as well. They basically have their overhead, but then they also help and contribute with their taxes, and they also have costs, associated with their contributions to the planning environment. But then the biggest one are consumers. We're the most powerful with the flow of money. We determine the kinds of goods and services provided by the government and business. And kind of to pig. No, I'm not getting to that. It's too political. So never mind. Let's move on to the next one. The economy. Goes back to like the planning environment. The economy, monetary policy, like I was saying before, this definitely affects all of us and your bottom line, within your household. The monetary policies is basically the controlling the amount of money in circulation, the money supply, which can stimulate or moderate economic growth. The higher the money supply, the lower the interest rates, and vice versa. There's fiscal policy, which is huge from the government side of spending and taxation. What happens with how the government spends money and how they tax everybody has a direct correlation with or direct impact on you. Here's some miscellaneous stuff, which I love. I love this kind of stuff. It's actually an economic data report. Hello. We'll get into that later in class. But there is this something called the economic data reports, which I'll expose you to, which for the most part has a big impact on how the stock market performs. Is the stock market the top leading indicator of the economy? Heck no. No way. I mean, and when usually the rich have a lot of stock, and then the people who are not rich don't. But the importance of how the stock market performs is when I took like my first corporate finance class, they will tell you in the beginning of a corporate finance class at the graduate level that the goal for a corporation, overriding goal, is to increase shareholder value. Meaning the goal of a corporation is to make their stock price increase, to increase that value of the stock price. The goal of the corporation is not to the end user. It's not to have a social conscience. It's not to, be better for society. Is that right? I don't think, probably not. But it's important to understand that, because when the stock market is going well, or it's going well for people, then for the most part, those companies can continue to employ people. And when you continue to employ people, then those consumers will be higher members of just natural consumption. The downside of that is, as companies do well, they're expected to keep doing well. if they are doing, you know what, I'm just throwing out numbers here. If their profit is 1x this year, next year they want to be 1.2x or 1.1x. And to do that, you have to do two things. You either increase your sales or you make cutbacks. And what are those cutbacks? Are those people? Sometimes they are. Yeah. So it's not a a fail-safe system, but when the economy is doing better, for the most part, it's because the stock market is doing okay. This, I think, recently wasn't so much. I don't think it was so much the case, but over the course of our history in our country, that's been the case. But I'll expose you to the economic data report, which basically it's reports that come out every week and really are indicators of how the economy is going. Actually, at Chapman, we are involved in that as well. We send out surveys to purchasing managers, and they send them back to us. So in our mailroom, I'll see our people who are involved in our economic forecast. They come, scurrying into our mailroom looking for these little yellow cards, and those are the kind of big indications of where the economy is going. GDP is the gross domestic product, is another indication of how the economy is going. And when the GDP is high, then that basically, for the most part, results in higher employment, decent wages, more consumptions by people. And unemployment, by the way, say high employment, that where you want to be as a country is 4%. 4% is the sweet spot. What are we right now? I'm gonna look on my phone. I think we're probably at least double that. If not triple that, which is really bad. So, oh my gosh, sometimes you're right, it feels good. 7.9%. This is as of October 2nd, 7.9%, which is double of what you want it to be. The sweet spot for unemployment is 4%, so you want to be under 4%. And then you always hear, this drives me crazy, and politicians do this, is they'll say unemployed and then underemployed. Whoever the party is that is not in power, they will always stress the underemployed stat. I'm 49 years old. For my entire adult life, I can remember if there's a Democrat in the White House, the Republicans would say, here's our unemployment, but there are people who are underemployed, meaning they're working kind of beneath what they should be making, their wages. They use that as this kind of like a political kind of like a piece of ammo. Now the Democrats are doing it, they're doing the same thing. So if whoever the party is that's not in power, they will always use this underemployed statistic, which is this number, which is, what, I'm not saying it's not true. Actually, I think it is true, but I just can't stand how both sides, do that. But GDP, that's basically our gross domestic product. When this is high and this is going well, then the country's in good shape, and everybody's for the most part in good shape. And GDP is C plus G plus I plus NX. This will not be on any exams or stuff. This is just kind of nerdy stuff that I like. C is consumer spending. G is government spending. I is just basic consumer spending, which is like how much consumers are spending in the economy. G, how much the government is spending in the economy. Investment, there's how much people are making in investments, like and then NX is the net exports, which basically is our exports, stuff that we send out minus what stuff that we get in. That's been a little negative because we get a lot of stuff from China and those kind of countries. This is a big one. This is probably the last slide that we're going to end on here. Is inflation, prices, actually should be probably a comma there. Inflation, prices, and planning. CPI, which is a big one. It's so big, I'm going to capitalize it here. The consumer price index, right? That is, every year we take the consumer price index. You take just basic things that we need. items. You can take a bottle of water. You can take milk. You can take soap. You can take some cars. You can take tennis shoes. You can take all these things. You put them in a bucket, and you see what those are worth, right? Then they do it the next year and see what those are worth. Every year, on average, it goes up 3.22%. So the average national rate of inflation is about 3.25%. Some people say 3.5%. So no, it's about between 3 and 3.5%. And that's like incredibly important. And why that's important is that it affects your purchasing power. Meaning, if you're not making more than 3.25% every year, you're losing your purchasing power. Okay, so if you went out and you bought $100 worth of groceries today, that same $100 in 10 years would be about $150. In 20 years, it would be $200. So if you're stuck with your wages not increasing, your money's not going as far. So when you have a job, you have something coming up, always take that in mind of when will there potentially be raises, or how are you going to cut back? So if you can't make any money, how are you going to cut back? And getting to cut back, we'll talk a lot about budgets, I think, the next class. And I'll give you some really good budgeting tools. And with the budgeting tools, this is one sheet that I give you, I think is worth the class itself. So you can kind of have more of a guide moving forward for what you should be spending in the categories. How much should you be spending on housing? How much should you be spending on utilities? How much should you be spending on food? All those kind of things. And there's going to be times, we'll get into it, that you're going to do like a little budget and think like, oh my God, I'm really, really, really not doing well with this. But at least and that's part of everything is being more informed. My life, when we first started doing budgets, we were horrible at it. We would get killed. I'll get into this when we talk about budgets more. We would get killed by Target. Target was just like destroying us. I mean, I would just look at our bank statements and just like Target. And I thought, hey, we work for Target, owns us basically in a sense. But we'll get into that and kind of knowing where you can cut back and at least having kind of a plan moving forward. So I kind of flew through a lot of this stuff here. I thought I was gonna go a little bit slower, but hey, it's early in the morning for me, and I didn't sleep that much last night. So no caffeine too. Yeah, but I've been able to kind of fly through it. So I think that's probably gonna be it. I still recording good. And here's what I'm gonna do. So I think moving forward, what we're gonna do is I will put up twice a week, probably on a Monday, the first lesson or module, and then on Wednesday-ish, Wednesday, Thursday, put something up and then the quiz will be due on that Friday. So I'll try to stick with a Monday, Wednesday. And just overall, if you guys need me, you have my contact information. Hold on, let me see if I can find it again here. I'll share my screen here in a second. No, hold on. Save that. Where are we? There we go. There we are. Share screen. There we go. Here is how to contact me. That's my cell phone number. Here's my office number too, but it all goes to the same phone, I think. It's 7694. This is my cell. This is my office, as the Canadians would say. Emails, all this kind of good stuff. I will send out a link to the group about just for like a Zoom kind of link if you guys want to hit me up for office hours. I'm really excited that you guys are in this class, excited to teach you in this class. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me just because of first time doing online, but I'm a pretty flexible instructor, and this class is for you. It's not for me. I don't need to know this kind of stuff. It's for you, and I'd love to see if I can talk to you guys. I'm always going to be open. The office hours, these are the office hours, but like I said, just hit me up whenever you want. And 'cause I know it's like, some of the oddest people you're ever going to meet in your life are going to be college instructors. I know that. I realize that. I get that. But I really enjoy, working with students and seeing if I can help them, give them some direction with things in this class, and kind of giving them some encouragement to push through things. So, and by the way, it's like I was a community college kid, community college brat myself. I went to community college, then I went to Cal State Fullerton, then I went to grad school at Chapman, um, and like Chapman right now, it costs, I think, if no scholarship, and there's a lot of scholarship money that available there. Tuition, I think, is $240,000 for 4 years, like 60 grand a year. But I don't see a difference between the good, smart community college students and students at these really high price schools at all. You're all the same. Um, and and I don't think there's going to be that much. I hate to say it, there's going to be that much of a difference in the next few years because of what's going on with the high schools and everybody going remote, and the SAT situation. So I think that playing field is going to be even more leveled coming up. So, hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll post this, and and then I'll keep posting every twice a week, and then we'll kind of work through this class together. I'll try to be as communicative as possible with what's going on, and I'm very accessible, and look forward to the class. Look forward to that kind of. It's like, what was the movie? TV show Breaking Bad. First time I saw it, I'm like, oh god, that's such a great show. By the way, we're living in the golden age of television. But the first time I saw that show, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then you meet somebody who's watching it for the first time. You're kind of envious, like, oh my gosh, I wish I could go through that journey at the same time. So it's like with students, like, I am envious that you can kind of go through some of this stuff and learn this stuff for the first time. So anyway, so if you need anything, reach out to me. You know how to reach out to me, and hopefully we'll have fun with this class. All right. Have a good day. Oh, for the weekend, my plans for the weekend, I always like to kind of get a little personal, is it is 9:42 right now. As I wrap this up, I'm going to go set my fantasy lineups, make sure everything's good there. Watch the NFL Red Zone. Huge Rams fan. Got a big game tonight against San Francisco. And when I say we, I have earned the right to say we. I'm 49 years old. I've been a fan. 49. Geez, that's a bad year for a Rams fan because we're 49ers. But I've been a fan since I was 5 years old, for 44 years as a fan of this team. And if I say we, I've earned it. 44 years. There are players on the team who didn't even care about the team up until 6 months ago or a year ago. So I can definitely say we. I'm not playing for the team, but I have more invested in than most of these players. So, hey, once again, thanks everybody for watching this, and we'll be in touch. And with that, where's the stop record? There it is. With that, all right, I'm done. Scram.